I believe, as a private sector person, that the actions and decisions the president is taking now, in the long run, will help our people.
Expect more support. Minister of Information assures Nigeria's federal government steps up deployment of palliative to state.
Every hardship that Nigerians are facing today will be turned around within the shortest possible time.
Expect more support. Minister of Information assures Nigerians federal government steps up deployment of palliatives to states.
As of today, there is no more water spill.
Federal authorities reiterate calls on states to strengthen preparedness for potential flooding. Hello and welcome to the Network News. I am Olajide Bello, and joining me tonight from Lagos is Adeola Kamiakere. You can watch these news live on our website nta.ng/live and also monitor the transmission on our other social media handles displayed on your screen. President Bola Tinubu has continued to receive commendations for his policy decisions on the country's economy so far. An economist and revered entrepreneur in the banking sector, Tony Elumelu, who visited President Tinubu at the State House, acknowledges that the Nigerian leader has taken good decisions in the interest of the country. He implores Nigerians to be patient with the president to see the benefits yet to come out of the decisions.
The private sector is encouraged with the bold decisions President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has taken, and we hope that in the fullness of time, Nigerians will benefit from it, because it's all about Nigerian people, it's all about youth, it's all about making sure our women are involved and empowered, it's all about making sure our youth get jobs, and I think Mr. President has this at the back of his mind, and I believe, as a private sector person, that the actions and decisions the president is taking now, in the long run, will help our people. But a bit of patience, you know, Rome was not built in a day, one day. Okay,
thank you very much.
Over the last couple of months, we have been reporting on the president's many engagements and seeing how quickly President Tinubu took off. These engagements have been broad and wide. In terms of style of communication, the president appears to have already demonstrated a remarkable ability to listen and consult, also with a semi-penchant for work, going by the number of meetings and guests hosted daily at the State House. We go straight to the Aso Rock Presidential Villa, where our State House correspondent, Musbel Dan Rahab, is on standby. Musbel, good to see you. Good to see you. Time. Would you say President Tinubu seems the outspoken type, perhaps pragmatic, and so much so that that style looks likely to define his presidency going forward if sustained?
Yes, today we can rightly say that it's the outspoken type. Well, there's no any reason to compare him with other past presidents, but he has just been able to demonstrate that he is a different person of his own class. Well, I wasn't in Lagos when he was the governor, but in the course of preparing for this assignments, I've had to research about him, and all we are seeing now are just a reenactment of what he has done in the past. He has never been known to be that type that's keep quiet. He has always been outspoken. We found out when he was in the private sector, we heard about his intervention, particularly at the ExxonMobil. And when he decided to join politics, it started from a very high level. For someone to be elected a senator from Lagos State, you know what that means at that time, where we had a lot of outspoken people in Lagos, and he has continued to do that. And remember, he was one of the vocal persons during the days of Nadeko. He was one of those who were agitating for the June 12 election to be brought back after the annulment, and he has continued to do that even when he became the president. He has always been in the public. He knows what's from all observations, he knows what it means to communicate with the people. The followers want to hear from their leaders. They want to know how the leaders are doing. They want to know that the leaders is hearing them and is responding or responsive to what they are yearning for. So he has been able to demonstrate that. And just look at what...
Musbah, very quickly, again, gauging from what you have observed there at the State House and outside as well, does it seem like consistent engagement with citizens, interest groups and special interests will be a regular occurrence during the Tinubu presidency?
Well, we can simply say that because during his campaigns, which I followed all through, he made promise that he's going to run an open door policy. And when after he became the president too, he has been demonstrating that, not only saying it, he's been demonstrating it. We've been seeing his engagement. Hardly would a day pass that we would not see people coming in individually, corporate organizations and other bodies, religious organizations have been coming to be having meetings with the president. And just recently, he attended an event organized by the Nigeria Bar Association, where he had a very good outing there. And of course, remember, some weeks back, he had an engagement with the leadership of the organized labor unions. We hardly see things like that being done by the president. So this man is really showing that he is the type that will run an open door policy. And just yesterday, during his speech of inaugural meeting of the Federal Executive Council, he also transferred that to the ministers. He told them to run an open door policy to be transparent and, of course, to be accountable to the people.
Many thanks. Our State House correspondents, Musbah and Wahab, speaking there, and the anatomy of the presidential engagement. Many thanks, Musbah. Well, now, while it may or it may not be early days yet for the Tinubu administration since it assumed leadership 3 months ago, public expectations are definitely not waning, but rather on the rise, as Nigerians continue to expect nothing less than total commitment and a forward thrust in efforts at pushing the frontiers of national development. Over the past decades, a rapidly increasing deficit in public trust had plagued public governance in Nigeria, most likely informing the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the inception of his campaign for office. Now, the Special Advisor, Media and Publicity to the President, Ajurin Galale, joins me for a preview on how the Tinubu administration plans to go ahead in the coming days to engender and continue to grow public trust. Now, glad to see you, Ajurin, glad you could join us.
Evening to Nigerians here and around the world.
All right. Ajuri, I reckon public trust isn't a commodity any government buys off the shelf or attains overnight. It could be a process. What is the Tinubu public trust doctrine, and how is the government restoring trust in institutions to drive prosperity? Okay, we apologize for that technical hitch. We would come back to a jury once we re-establish contact with him. Moving on, in an effort to ensure food security in the country, the federal government is expected to receive 33,000 metric tons of potash donated by Russia's Rural Charm Group and UN partners. Vice President Kashim Shettima stated this at a meeting with Fertilizer Producers and Suppliers Association of Nigeria, expressing the Tinubu administration's commitment towards reducing the cost of fertilizers for Nigerian farmers. Vice President Shettima said the declaration of state of emergency in food security sector in July this year is part of the agenda of ensuring food sufficiency in the country. He charged the stakeholders to ensure transparency, equity and fairness in the distribution of the potash to the end beneficiaries. The donation is part of Gains of Russia-Africa Summit held in St. Petersburg, Russia, July this year, where the federal government's delegation met with the leadership of Eurochem Group and World Food Programme over the donation of a consignment of the 33,000 metric tons of potash to Nigeria. More palliatives will soon be made available to cushion the effect of the current economic realities. Minister of Information and National Orientation Mohammed Idris Malagi gave the assurance while receiving the Niger State Governor Muhammad Umar Bago.
The two Nigerites are saddled with critical assignments. The host as the custodian and driver of the Renewed Hope agenda, while the visitor is the helmsman of the power state. The visit provided an opportunity for them to roll out plans on how to fast-track the implementation of the already identified 8 priority areas.
Assorted grains have been sent to states, and we know that each state of Nigeria has received the sum of 5 billion naira in the first instance, and the FCT also got about 2 billion in the first instance. Now, Mr. President is aware that that is not enough, but is only the first necessary step that he has to take to ensure that this hardship occasioned by the fuel subsidy removal will be cushioned. Your Excellency, Mr. President has asked us to tell Nigerians that more are coming in their way. He's working day and night tirelessly together with his Council of Advisory Bodies, the ministers, to ensure that every hardship that Nigerians are facing today will be turned around within the shortest possible time.
We have a lot of potentials for agriculture, and we can feed the world. So one of the key cardinal points of Mr. President's agenda is food security and social security. These two things are very, very available in Niger State.
The Minister of Information and National Orientation promised a leading role to make sure that Nigerians understand the vision and mission of the government. In Abuja, Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has applauded Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, for her intervention in providing empowerment to women and other vulnerable groups in the society through her pet project, Renewed Hope Initiative. He said this while speaking to State House correspondents after a courtesy call on the First Lady at the Villa, noting her recent interventions in the education sector, where a national scholarship program was flagged off, agriculture and social investment. The governor said such efforts will serve to reassure Nigerians.
Running a complementary role to what Mr. President is also doing, and I think it's great. You know, our own idea is not necessarily to begin to build brick and mortar, is really to be able to intervene, you know, in schools, you know, for people needing scholarship, in farming, you know, people needing implements, you know, seedlings, and also to be able to provide immediate succor, you know, for families and for people that that are vulnerable in the society, that the initiative can indeed target it, and I think it's beautiful.
And away from the Renewed Hope Initiative, the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, NISA, says it has received confirmation from Cameroonian authorities that as of Monday, 28 August 2023, the spilling water from the Lagdo Dam has been stopped, but wants government at all levels to adhere strictly to recommendations in the 2023 annual flood outlook. Director General of NISA, Clement Nze, says the situation with the release of water from the Lagdo Dam is currently under control as Nigeria is closely monitoring the development.
As of today, there is no more water spill from Cameroon. Is normal environmental flow that maintaining as usual downstream. We have several rivers inside Nigeria that are pouring water into the Benue. Also in Cameroon that are downstream the Lagdo Dam. That if people don't need to open their dam, those rivers in Cameroon, downstream the Lagdo Dam, and also in Nigeria, that are releasing water into the Benue River channel, has been causing a lot of flood within that flank.
While affirming that a local rainfall is responsible for the flooding in parts of the country, Clementines has said the immediate need for key players in the national flood response and control is to deploy appropriate measures and strengthen preparedness to minimize the impact of potential flooding even during the peak of the rainy season. 178 local government areas across 32 states and the FCT have been predicted to be prone to flooding this year in 2023 annual flood outlook, with recommendations on mitigating devastating effects. You're watching the Network News. More reports when we return. Don't go anywhere. Many thanks for being there, and now we have re-established contact with the Special Advisor, Media and Publicity to the President, Ajuri Ngulale. Now, before we had that break in our transmission, I reckon public trust isn't a commodity any government buys off the shelf or tins overnight. It could be a process. What is the Tinubu public trust doctrine, and how is the government restoring trust in institutions to drive prosperity?
Primarily, our concern under the leadership of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is about ensuring that everything we do is measurable, that everything we do is verifiable. We recognize the fact that successive administrations in our country, both military and civilian, had a terrible habit of promising what they could not deliver. His Excellency, Mr. President, has a clear track record of providing services that were delivered on the basis of promises that preceded them. And in Lagos, he promised and he delivered. And at the federal level now, as president, he is promising and he is going to deliver. And the reason why is because he is setting a series of time-marked time-based benchmarks against which we will measure the performance of public officers in our administration. Ministers are not going to simply sit at their tables and have us hope that they perform or not. It is going to be based on benchmarks that have been set sector by sector, that have been established by reform committees that we put in place in the interim period between the time Mr. President won the election and the time he was sworn in. So the ministers already have those benchmarks, ministry by ministry. The question now is going to be about how they perform against those benchmarks, and we have a president who will not tolerate underperformance. And this is why Nigerians can have a level of trust in our administration that perhaps they hadn't had with previous administrations.
Okay, Ajuri, a question on the president's 8-point agenda. What is that central factor that ties the intention and anticipated results in these plans to the core issues of public trust?
Well, certainly, we recognize that there is a trust deficit. As I always say about the public sector in Nigeria, that we have earned the skepticism of our people, from a public sector standpoint over a long period of time. And the only way that you are going to reverse that is by delivering on what you say you're going to deliver on. Now, with respect to the 8-point agenda of our administration, already the question that is before Nigerians is about whether or not Mr. President has followed through on his word thus far. You'd recall that in his inauguration address, he said that fuel subsidy is gone, that we are not going to have artificially low fuel prices in the country, and that he is going to unify the foreign exchange market and unify foreign exchange rates. These are measures that Nigerians have now seen him implement. So when the members of the Federal Executive Council addressed the press yesterday, going through several of the various measures that each of them will be putting in place, I think there's a recognition on the part of the public that so far we have delivered on what we said we're going to deliver on, and we've been very forthright about the fact that these economic reforms come with short-term challenges and short-term pains. Look, our people are hurting. We recognize that. We're not sugarcoating that, but we're also honest about the fact that this is what it is going to take to dig out of the type of deficits that we have dug ourselves into over the course of the last 50 years. And so this is where we are, and we're going to do everything within our power to be transparent and accountable with our people about what we want to do. And this is what we are going to do under the leadership of Mr. President.
Nigerian Galale, Special Advisor to the President's Media and Publicity, thank you so much for the clarifications.
A privilege to be with you. Thank you.
Moving on, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved the appointment of a new board and management team of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. The new board has Chiedu Ebie representing Delta State as chairman and Dr. Samuel Ogbuku representing Bayelsa as managing director. Other members appointed on the 17-man board and drawn from the Niger Delta region include executive directors, state and zonal representatives. A statement by the presidential spokesperson, Nigerian Galale, says the president expects the new board and management team to ensure an era of successful administration in the NDDC in line with his renewed hope agenda. All of the appointments take immediate effect. And now to election matters. The campaign drums have started beating in the three states of Bayelsa, Imo and Kogi, where the off-season governorship elections are scheduled to hold November 11 later this year. While INEC assures the lessons learned from the 2023 general elections will increase the electioneering process for these elections, participating parties are already boasting of victory. What are the key campaign issues being raised by these parties in the three states that NTA now chooses to reference with the acronym BIG, Bayelsa, Imo and Kogi? Now, without further ado, let's bring you a calligraph report with our correspondents in the three states detailing how things are going with the political parties and their campaigns.
I am Edidi Ongiba in Yenegoa. Bayelsa State boasts of 16 credible candidates that will be contesting the 2023 off-cycle governorship election. Out of these 16, 2 are women, representing about 1.5% of the demographics, and the top contenders are of the PDP, the APC, and the Labour Party. The incumbent governor, Senator Doye Diri, will be contesting again for a second tenure, and he hopes to consolidate on the prosperity agenda of his first tenure. Another top contender for the job is the immediate past Minister of State for Petroleum Resources and a one-time governor of the state, Chief Timipri Silva. Chief Timipri Silva says he will work on the infrastructure, improve human capacity development, agriculture, infrastructure, and of course, power. The Labour Party in the state will be represented by a one-time national president of the Ijaw Youth Council Worldwide, and of course a former commissioner of Youth and Sports and Environment, Mr. Udengs Eradiri. Mr. Udengs Eradiri hopes to re-engineer governance through the inclusion of youths in governance.
In Owerri, I am Kingsley Onaniwu. Security, job creation, as well as infrastructural development are the major campaign promises of the 3 major political parties in Imo State ahead of November 11 state governorship election. For the candidate of APC and the incumbent governor of Imo State, Senator Hope Uzodimma, issue of security will occupy the top priority of his administration if re-elected for a second tenure. In the same vein, the candidate of the Labour Party, Senator Atan Achon, has been promising Imo people that on assumption of office, there must be adequate security of lives and property so that people will go apart doing their lawful businesses. For the candidate of PDP, Senator Samuel Anyanwu, issue of insecurity that is bedeviling the state at the moment will be a thing of the past if he is voted into power.
This is Solomon in Lokoja, Kogi State. Kogi State was established on August 27, 1991, and recently marked its 32nd anniversary. With the upcoming governorship election scheduled for November 11 this year, 18 candidates are jostling to occupy Lugard House. Usman Ahmed Ododo, the governorship candidate of the APC in Kogi State, is centering his campaign efforts on consolidating the achievements of the current administration in sectors such as health, education, and youth empowerment. Senator Dino Milai of the PDP has chosen a female running mate. His agenda includes establishing good governance, emphasizing security. Muritala Yakubu Ajaka, the candidate of the SDP, is pledging to foster job creation and attract both local and foreign investors. Jubrin Usman, a retired chief of naval staff and the governorship candidate of the Accord Party, is gaining attention as he champions a comprehensive approach to good governance. Leke Abejide of the ADC has articulated his priorities, which encompass local government enhancement, job creation, and the promotion of socio-economic development.
Many thanks to our reporters there from Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi State, keeping us up to speed with election issues as it's unfolding from their state. Nigeria is hyping its capacity as one of the leading nations, providing capital for startups with potential to create homegrown solutions for Nigeria's prosperity. Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani, gave the assurance at an engagement with major players in the tech industry. He says he is prioritizing training of technical talents and connecting Nigerian tech diasporans for knowledge transfer to actualize President Bola Tinubu's mandate of Nigeria having 1 million technical talents in the shortest possible time.
To start a local fund in Nigeria, and part of my responsibility is working with BOI to ensure that we actually domicile that funding locally in Nigeria, work with funds who manage and invest in businesses to ensure that those businesses that will benefit are true, real Nigerian businesses.
There will be lots more time for us to support you and work with you, and I hope we can do this as a true private and public partnership.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, says President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's agenda for development, democracy, demography, and diaspora will be pursued unrelentingly to bring modern solutions to address complex challenges for national development. The minister stated this when the chairman CEO Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri-Rewa of NIDCAN, paid a visit to the minister in Abuja. Ambassador Tuga noted that Nigeria should tap into its diaspora beyond Europe and America, but also focus on African diasporans to utilize their global exposure, skills, and competencies for national development.
Investment, which is key, we can see what the potential is from just the remittances, not to talk about, solid investments. We need to tap into that. And perhaps with regards to investment, then you start exploring the possibilities of perhaps a diaspora sukuk fund.
Briefing the newly appointed minister, Abike Dabiri-Rewa stated that within 4 years, NIDCAN had consistently hosted the National Diaspora Day, attracting over 5,000 hybrid participants annually, including an inaugural Diaspora Merit Award 2023.
The diaspora come home and see what they can do. And Nigerians are really beginning to invest in their own country. So what we're doing now is tabulating into Naira and Kobo. In the last 3 or 4 years, we have 10 hospitals come to set up by the diaspora.
Now let's join Adeola in Lagos to keep us up to speed for that zone. Adeola, take it up from here.
Thank you, Olajide. The call for community policing has been heightened due to the level of insecurity, which has remained a major concern for Lagos residents in recent times. Stakeholders are of the opinion that since conventional police hardly gets to remote areas of the state, community policing therefore becomes imperative. Lynn Leneke reports.
Security is indeed everyone's business, as concerted efforts of security agencies and residents are important in curbing any form of crime and violence. With over 15 million people living in Lagos, pockets of security challenges have continued to emerge, from agents of perpetrating crimes disguising as transport operators to a recent case of using a minor to peddle drugs. These and many others have continued to generate concerns among Lagos residents, thereby making the calls for community policing louder. To achieve a safer Lagos, these respondents believe inclusion of religious bodies, people from all ethnic and occupational groups into the security architecture is important.
The agencies must relate with the retired community. The retired community must relate with the serving personnel and commute as an interface with the civilian community.
Members of the State of Assembly are not oblivious of the cries of Lagosians. They are discussing the issue with the aim of making recommendations.
We need the state to have the police, our police system here that is conducive for us, that will make life meaningful for people. Security is local, and that's what I want to take advantage of this moment and let us appeal to the National Assembly to take another look into this matter so that we can save our country, because life is precious.
The Nigerian police, on the other hand, is not leaving any stone unturned to ensure the communities are safe.
We are shifting from the present approach of community policing to policing diverse communities. That is, policing the communities taking into consideration the peculiarities of each community.
The police is, however, issuing stern warning to criminals to desist from perpetrating crimes or face the wrath of the law. In Lagos, Lane Lenake, NTA News.
Emergency communication centers are described and known as life-saving channels, as they are created and structured towards rapid response in emergency situations. KG Busari Ahmed, who was at the scene where a mutilated body was dumped for 5 days along Funsho Williams Avenue in Lagos, reports that it took concerned citizens 5 hours of calling before emergency responders arrived.
We're right here at the Western Avenue axis of Lagos, actually the Surulere local government area of Lagos State. This dead body behind me here has been here for over 5 years.
Exactly 11:15 when an NTA crew got to the scene of a dumped mutilated body on the usually busy Western Avenue Road in Lagos, and joined policemen from the Barracks Police Station as well as men of Lagos Neighborhood Safety Corps, who said they had been on the ground since morning calling the Lagos State Emergency Call Center 112 and 767. Yours truly also joined them in calling both the emergency call center and other private numbers belonging to the State Environment Health Management Unit, which took over 2 hours before they could respond and never got to the scene until 2:30 p.m. A situation responded described as unfortunate.
Sometimes when you call, maybe something happened, maybe accident or something like that happened. When you call the number, they will tell you that you are calling the wrong number. Or they will tell you, I'll give you some number that you're going to call.
At times I just feel like, what's going on in this country? These are emergency numbers you're supposed to call.
Some residents of the area also speak.
When I came to work this morning, early this morning, I just saw it like this. It's so surprised.
Normally call them, they will come immediately to come and pick it whenever they see such. But now we've been calling since over like 3, 4, 5 hours.
We can only hope that when next such happens, relevant authorities will not only rise to the occasion, but do so in time, not leaving residents of any area to such unhealthy, gory sights.
How effective are these numbers? Only time will tell. In Lagos, KG Busari Ahmed, NTA News.
And those are the reports from Lagos. Do not forget that you can still follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on the screen for updates. We're going on a break now. More news with Olajide in Abuja when we return. To stay.
Many thanks for being there. And Benny Adams is standing by with the business news segment. Benny.
Thank you, Olajide. And it's time to talk business.
The Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NTA, in collaboration with Open Ownership and Budget, among other stakeholders, have launched a platform where Nigerians can take action to improve natural resource governance in the country. Joining the dots with politically exposed persons in Nigeria platform is to generate corruption alerts, identify and cross-check information gathered on politically exposed persons with a view to building data to aid accountability, transparency in the extractive sector.
This visual tool, anyone can easily see red flags where a PEP has interest in extractive sector licenses, providing a starting point to further investigate and unveil conflicts of interest.
If the beneficial owners are hidden, if the natural persons that ultimately own and control companies are hidden, then governments don't know who is bidding for contracts. We don't know, right? Companies don't know who they are doing business with. The society doesn't know who is controlling its natural resources. And law enforcement cannot fight money laundering and other cross-border financial crimes.
We want to encourage everybody and stakeholders to take opportunity in using this register and reporting discrepancies where they may occur.
The bank says it is willing to provide technical support to Nigeria in critical areas to enable the country achieve its economic goals. This was during the World Bank Nigeria's team visit to the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Atiku Bagudu, where the minister expressed optimism about the prospect of Nigeria's economic growth in the near future.
Specifically today, what we discussed with the Honorable Minister is actually a lot of it was the support beyond financing and what we could do with ideas and experiences from other countries in his critical role as Minister of Budget and Economic Planning. The budget function, how to ensure that the scarce public funds are spent as effectively and efficiently as possible for the benefit of the Nigerian people.
And they appreciated the bold and courageous initiatives and measures that have been taken by President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu to reposition the Nigerian economy, and indeed the social intervention and palliatives that are being rolled out to ensure that even where the reforms have caused hardship, the hardships are being assuaged by such social interventions.
And taking a look at the market, investors gain 185 billion naira as the hunt for consumer goods and banking stocks continue. At the end of today's trading session on the exchange, a total of 436.9 million shares in 7,932 deals, corresponding to a market value of 7.013 billion naira, were traded. Compared with the previous trading day, today's data shows 40% improvement in volume, 79% improvement in turnover, and 10% improvement in deals. The current market capitalization is 36.4 trillion naira. FBN Holdings recorded the highest volume of traded shares, followed by Jopo Gold and Ventures, as well as United Bank for Africa. That is business news. Network news continues with Olajide Bello. Olajide, it's nice doing business with you.
Nice doing business with you too, Benny. And moving on, professional accountants across the country under the aegis of Association of National Accountants of Nigeria, ANAN, are sharpening their knowledge on data collection through financial disclosures to drive sustainable development in the country. This is at the fourth session of the mandatory Continuing Professional Development MCPD program ongoing in Benin City at Edo State. Agatha Guarejo reports.
In this hall are new and old members of ANAN, professionals in the field, to sharpen knowledge on the theme of the conference, Understanding Financial Disclosures on Sustainability. This session, declared open by ANAN President, will expose the professionals to the responsibility of gathering, understanding, and articulating performance on a range of issues, especially as it concerns governance.
What will this year's budget carry? What areas need concentration of finance?
Where can we wire from? Which subhead? Which head? That is disclosure. We want to inform our accountants and non-accountants the best way to go about government data collecting.
We have so many standards coming from different frameworks. You have the IFRS, you have the IPSAS, and sustainability is really about our survival.
The professionals are optimistic that with the conference, they'll be better informed about their roles.
We need to know what is going on in order to be able to sustain our economic development. That affects our political development, that affects our social development.
We go home fresh and will be a better accountant.
The association says about 1,000 new members will undergo orientation ahead of induction this Wednesday. Anan's MCPD is a statutory program mandatory for all its members to attend once a year in any geopolitical zone of the country of their choice to sharpen their accounting skills for effective service delivery. In Benin, Agatha Egwari Ojo, NTA News.
Another break beckons. NTA Network News continues shortly. Glad to know you're still there, and up next is Sports Update with Olumide Guntola. And that concludes the Network News. Many thanks for being a part of it. I am Olajide Bello.